Hey everyone, and welcome back to Scandalous Media. It's Alana here. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez are officially divorced, and it seems like the divorce process was getting messier by the day. About 2 months ago in June, we posted a YouTube video explaining Ben and Jennifer's relationship, how they first met in the early 2000s and reconnected 20 years later, to finally tying the knot and getting married in 2022. All was not well though, since shortly after, we got to see the clash between Ben and J-Lo in public. Whether it was J-Lo looking frustrated at Ben at the Grammys, Ben slamming the door after J-Lo gets into the car, or a random fight caught on camera, these two couldn't catch a break. This has been a developing story for some time now, and we've gathered recent updates. Where we left off in the previous video was after J-Lo's defensive response to divorce rumors at her Atlas movie premiere.
You know better than that.
And Jennifer and Ben's awkward air kiss situation when they were hanging out with Ben's mom, Chris. If you thought that was awkward, well, you're gonna want to keep watching because it all goes downhill from here. Make sure to like and subscribe, tell us your thoughts down below, and go check out our merch if you want to support us and rock some cool designs from yours truly. And now here is everything that happened in the past few months that led to the official divorce, which J-Lo filed for on August 20th. Ben and Jennifer had tried to dodge the media while figuring out how to quietly start the divorce process. The first news we got hit with was on June 8th, where sources told TMZ that Ben and Jennifer are trying to quickly and quietly sell their forever home. They had bought the house after an intense hunt for nearly 2 years, looking at more than 80 properties before finally settling on their $60 million mansion. By this point, Ben had already moved out of the house and into a rental in Brentwood, in an area near his ex-wife Jennifer Garner. J-Lo was also looking for a new place, but was doing so quietly. Sources told TMZ that they are using Santiago Arana from the agency to sell the home they bought, and the listing price was $65 million. They were losing millions of dollars due to new taxes, the money spent on home improvements, and the broker's commission. Ben moved all of his things out of the house while J-Lo was away in Europe. On Father's Day, Jennifer posted a tribute to Ben Affleck, calling him a hero. She wrote, "Our hero, Happy Father's Day," on a black and white photo of Ben. This post came a few days after Ben and J-Lo were spotted at his son's graduation ceremony, still wearing their wedding rings. A source told People magazine that Ben and Jennifer are still friendly despite marriage troubles. While the pair attended Ben's son Samuel's basketball game, a source told People that this was a good sign. After Jennifer posted the Father's Day tribute for Ben, she quickly posted one for her father. By June 28th, reports came out that Ben and J-Lo were not planning on spending the summer together, saying that the pair are focused on their separate lives. Ben continues to live at the Brentwood rental. He's been there for about 2 months now. He seems okay. He's been at his office every day and he seems focused on work. He's also spending time with his kids. On July 16th, both Ben and Jennifer spent their second wedding anniversary in separate parts of the country, one being in New York and the other being in LA. Jennifer was spotted spending time in New York after taking a few days off traveling to Europe solo. She was seen bike riding in the Hamptons, while Ben was seen in LA walking into his office wearing a black suit and his wedding ring. Ben has been staying in California for much of the summer, missing out on going to events with Jennifer such as the Met Gala and the premiere of her film Atlas. The media stated that Ben couldn't be with Jennifer due to the production of his movie The Accountant 2, but even after filming for the movie was wrapped, Ben was still not showing up to events with J-Lo. He even missed out on the 4th of July. Comparing their first wedding anniversary to now, it didn't take much to let everyone know there was trouble. When they celebrated their first wedding anniversary, Jennifer shared selfies from her and Ben's wedding, writing, "1 year since our midnight trip to Vegas. Go on the J-Lo for a special surprise. #ThisIsMeNow." In our first Ben and J-Lo video, we spoke about how Jennifer found ways to monetize her relationship by constantly tying Ben's name and face to her music and career. As you could see from her Instagram caption, celebrating their first year of marriage, she's already hinting at surprises and directing you to go on her newsletter On the J-Lo. Then she hashtags her new era, "ThisIsMeNow," which is kind of all about Ben and her path to finding real love between all her relationships, including the ones with her parents and herself. The entire era gets a movie that no one watched, and then we get a documentary about the movie that also no one watched. It's funny how determined she was to make both movies come out, even spending her own money on the documentary, but it's actually being produced by Ben's production company, Artist Equity. Let me know if you guys want me to make a video about her documentary. There were a lot of funny unhinged moments, some that social media has seen and some that haven't been talked about. But the whole point is people got annoyed at J-Lo's response when asked about the divorce rumors because she has built up a pretty big era all about her relationship. She was even the one to announce her engagement to Ben in her newsletter before telling the world a few days later.
I told you I had a special
Very personal story to tell that I want to share here. I'm engaged!
If you're gonna use something for attention, then don't get mad when asked about it, suddenly claiming to want privacy. One of the defining moments in the Bennifer downfall was when J.Lo publicized Ben's personal and private love letters to Jennifer for her This Is Me Now era. Ben had always secretly kept all the letters and emails he had written to Jennifer on the side, and when they reunited again in 2021, he surprised her with them in book form. He later found out that Jennifer had been showing it to people who were working on her film and album for inspiration.
On that first day, I showed everybody this book. This book is a book that Ben gave me on our first Christmas back together. It is every letter and every email that we wrote to each other from 20 years ago and today. It became like our Bible, and we just left it there in the studio, and people would thumb through it. They're like, can we look at it? I was like, look at it.
In the documentary, he said, "My book that I had given her was down there. She's like, I've been reading it to people. This is kind of the inspiration, and I've been showing them the book."
It's like, you've been showing all the musicians all those letters that, and they were like, yeah, we call you Pen Affleck. And I was like, oh my God.
He then went on a rant about the irony in the fact that it's titled The Greatest Love Story Never Told, but you're making a record about it. That seems kind of telling it.
I did really find the beauty and the poetry and the irony in the fact that it's the greatest love story never told. And if you're making a record about it, that seems kind of like telling it.
Somewhere later in the documentary, he said, "Things that are private, I always felt are sacred and special because, in part, they're private." If you're wondering how this part made it past the drawing room, it might be because it was produced by Ben's production company, Artist Equity, like we said earlier. I'm pretty sure he added in there a shade, but maybe J.Lo was too self-obsessed to realize it. J.Lo's PR team is now working hard to get their story told to the media, and now reports are saying because Ben's company produced the film, he was too controlling in what was going to be there and what wasn't making the cut. Both of them are at fault, but J.Lo and her team are already running to the media to blame everything on Ben. In order to help J.Lo's embarrassment over making an entire era about him, they have changed the narrative into saying that he was the one who pushed for the film, while it was actually J.Lo who was closed off from the idea. Even though in the documentary, you can see J.Lo being extremely enthusiastic for being the one pushing this film out there.
I have decided to tell my story, and I've never shared with anybody in the world. I said, I'm not just financing it, I'm writing it, dancing in it, singing in it. Oh, God.
I also don't blame J.Lo for wanting to make this entire era about Ben because she really did seem like she loves him and she's a hopeless romantic. There's even a part in the documentary where she's crying because of how much she loves him and how he is the one who made her see her self-worth, but we can't help but notice how much her PR team is talking to the media and jumping ship on blaming Ben for everything. His PR team hasn't jumped to defend him or start detailing to the media all of Jen's flaws, which would be easy to amplify because for a little short while, J.Lo went viral for being stuck up, a diva, and trying to monetize the Bronx, to the point where people who grew up with J.Lo said she wasn't running up and down the block, aka the joke social media ran with when this part of her documentary went viral.
Taking my hair out like this, it reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block, a crazy little girl.
There has now been updates where the media is starting to get reports about Ben's dark and controlling side. But that's not where we're at just yet. We'll get to the more recent updates later on in this video. But yes, as you can see with both wedding anniversaries, it was clear the relationship downfall had already begun. Following up with the theme of Ben's absence, on July 21st, Ben failed to attend J.Lo's Bridgerton-themed birthday party. Multiple sources confirmed to people that Ben was not at J.Lo's birthday party, which took place in the Hamptons. During the event, numerous of guests were spotted arriving in royal-esque attire, including Jennifer's mother, Guadalupe Rodriguez. During this time, a source also confirmed to the media that the pair's marital problems have nothing to do with Jennifer being a superstar, detailing that there have been deeper issues between the two. The source said, "The idea that Ben thinks Jennifer is too famous and that he didn't know what he was getting into with the attention on their marriage isn't true." This was in response to Ben's face and attitude whenever he was around J.Lo. He looked exhausted, annoyed, angry, and bored. While most people figured they were clashing in personalities, some sources claimed that Ben was having a hard time dealing with the spotlight, while J.Lo is more comfortable because she's more famous than him. Sounds like J.Lo wrote that herself. I can honestly see these sources both coming from Ben and J.Lo's camp, and if I had to guess, I would say they're both trying to spite the other. Most people were mocking JLo, saying that she's hard to deal with and is extremely self-obsessed, and Ben's entire attitude just proves that. And now suddenly there's a source telling people that Ben isn't used to superstar fame, and he didn't realize how famous Jennifer is. Yep, that sounds right about JLo. Then about 2 months later, a source, possibly from Ben's circle, tries to correct the narrative by saying, no, Ben doesn't think JLo's too famous, it's deeper issues than media spotlight. Which makes sense because Ben is also an A-list actor and has been massively famous for a few decades now. If you recall, this is the same spin these two tried out back in the early 2000s when ending their engagement. They blamed the entire thing on the media, which makes no sense because even after giving it another shot, it still didn't work out. I see media blame was tried here too, but someone wasn't having it. The reason why I believe the source could be coming from Ben's team is because A, most of these sources come from celebrity teams, and B, Ben looks like he enjoys humbling Jennifer just a bit.
I love that you want to play younger even in the autobiographical.
This is not my autobiographical, this is meta. This is me using some of my story.
Semi-autobiographical. It's your story, but younger.
You're an idiot.
No, it doesn't suck. That's wrong.
It does.
That's wrong. That's just inexperience. That you haven't done this process before.
I'm sorry that I'm not a award-winning director.
You think I look fat?
Just kidding.
And kind of, you
No,
know, in
that's not-
sweatpants
no,
and my
no,
striped
stop.
socks.
We're not going for
and
this.
thinking.
I'm not pretty and all this.
I'm not saying I'm not pretty. I'm saying you.
One of the things Ben told Jennifer when they first started the relationship was that he didn't want a relationship on social media, but then he quickly realized that it's not a fair thing to ask.
I had a very firm sense of boundaries initially around like the press. While Jen, I don't think objected to it in the way I did. I very much did object to it. Getting back together, I said, listen, one of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media. And then I sort of realized it's not a fair thing to ask.
Ben was okay with JLo putting him in her musical projects and social media, but he just wanted a more low-key life than she did. And with Jennifer, you can see that she loves the famous part about being famous. JLo's vanity is a hard thing to work with. Imagine finding out that someone has been passing around letters and emails you wrote them because they're trying to find more inspiration for their own work. It's an invasion of privacy and is extremely selfish on JLo's part. As news kept coming in from multiple sources, JLo handled the media well by sharing on Instagram a smiley selfie showing that she was happy and unbothered, even though reports were saying that Jennifer was doing all she could to save her marriage. After he missed out on her birthday, a new report comes out saying that these two are no longer on speaking terms. Multiple sources confirm that the divorce papers have been finalized but not yet turned in. Another source close to the duo said they finalized the divorce papers with her a month ago but are waiting for the right time to drop them. At that time, they will release a joint statement saying how much love they have for each other and how they fought to make it work but couldn't. Another source said, honestly, in the end, they could not come to a compromise. What they had before is gone and they both have accepted it. This comes after Ben bought a new $20.5 million bachelor pad mansion on July 24th, which also happened to be on JLo's birthday. Jennifer's friends claim that Ben's sudden bachelor pad purchase on her birthday had been a stab to the heart, as the solo move is his final insult to her. I remember a few years ago, Jennifer Garner was talking about her divorce with Ben and said, when his sun shines on you, you feel it, but when the sun is shining elsewhere, it's cold. He can cast quite a shadow. Jennifer Garner also describes him as someone who is brilliant, charismatic, and generous, but he does have a dark side where he can be cold and complicated. So do I think it's a coincidence that Ben bought a house on the same day as JLo's birthday? Not really. His absence in all things Jennifer has come down hard and cold, and I feel like while JLo wanted to spin things as everything's fine, we're gonna quietly get divorced and surprise the public, Ben has made it very obvious that when it was time for him to go, he was going, and no amount of fake PR narratives was gonna hold him down. It's not all his fault though, because there have been many complaints about Jennifer Lopez and how she's hard to handle, a diva, self-obsessed, will think she's better than you, and so on. The last time JLo and Ben were pictured together was March 30th, and since then, they have spent the summer apart. Now sources are saying the two are no longer communicating and cannot come to a divorce agreement. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ that Jen and Ben are not speaking to one another, whether that is in person or over the phone, which is slowing down their divorce. They reportedly have a prenup, and the only asset they have to divide is their Beverly Hills mansion, which is on the market. The sources continue to say that JLo and Ben have not hired lawyers and instead are having everything go through their respective business managers who are trying to figure out the finances behind the divorce. But it's complicated since they're not on speaking terms. This makes a whole lot of sense when we talk about the divorce news that hit recently, which you'll see later on in the video. It does seem like Ben and JLo will eventually hire divorce lawyers and file the papers, but as of now, the two are not speaking and it's slowing down the whole process. They have also taken this divorce process slowly for their kids. A source told Entertainment Tonight they want to make sure the kids are comfortable with the transition and where they are living. They don't want it to make it feel like they're pulling the rug from underneath their children. They're making a mutual effort to ensure that this transition is as healthy and easy as possible. Another source notes that part of the reason Ben hasn't filed his divorce papers yet is to avoid embarrassing JLo further because he's very protective of her. Things continued going downhill as sources told the media on August 6th that JLo is furious at Ben and that he humiliated her. A source told Page 6 that Ben humiliated Jennifer. He was the one who initiated getting back together. He's humiliated her because she made a big deal that he's the love of her life. They just had 2 weddings 2 years ago. This is some kind of record. They're not young kids. JLo is also upset due to the impact of the rift on her and Ben's children. The insider said, "There are 5 kids involved in this. She knew they were going to blend families. She has not fully accepted it is over." This makes sense because on August 19th, JLo was spotted looking upset and sad, while Ben was smiling ear to ear while dropping off his daughter Violet to college over the weekend. People suspected that she was down because she's missing this milestone moment for Violet, who she had a close bond with in the past. On August 15th, JLo was spotted visiting Ben's house on his birthday and then was seen having a fun night out without him. Not to mention, Jennifer Garner also paid a visit to Ben a couple of hours before JLo did. Then on August 20th, we get the news that the divorce is official. Headlines write, Jennifer Lopez officially files for divorce from Ben Affleck on Tuesday, August 20th. And the craziest part, there was no prenup. JLo filed the legal divorce documents on Tuesday in LA County Superior Court. She did not have the documents filed by a lawyer, but done by herself. She listed the date of separation as April 26, 2024, which just proves that for months things have been happening behind closed doors, which we all knew, but it was still good to see confirmation of that. Bennifer got married in Las Vegas on July 16, 2022, but the date she filed for divorce was actually on the anniversary day where they held their large traditional marriage ceremony in Georgia, August 20th. There was definitely some intentions behind that filing date. While JLo does not specify in the documents if there was a prenup, sources tell TMZ that there is no prenuptial agreement. This means that whatever earnings or profit Ben and JLo made during their 2 years of marriage is community property. Ben and JLo have both starred in a couple of movies and had other projects in the 2 years that they were married. This is JLo's 4th marriage and Ben's 2nd, so you would think a prenup would have been done, but I guess they thought this would be a forever marriage, or maybe the thought of starting off a marriage signing a prenup was bad luck? According to the documents, JLo waived spousal support and is asking the judge to deny Ben such support as well. There are no custody issues since they have no biological children together. However, they are running into one issue right now, which is the fact that a lot of their finances have not been settled yet. The media started writing that how could a couple with their profile and an alleged combined net worth of $650 million not think to protect their respective assets? Well, this led people to ask, why did JLo file for divorce in the middle of a settlement battle? Maybe she had enough of Ben's push and pull games and decided enough was enough. Many reports were crediting JLo for wanting to save the marriage, and it seems like she knew holding on to false hope wasn't going to last, so she ripped the band-aid off. A source has also told me on the side that JLo is done being embarrassed by Ben, and that's why she filed for divorce. She wanted to show him in the media that it's her letting go, and she's the one making the move to finalize their divorce. This correlates with what happened next because now sources told TMZ that Jennifer wants to drop the Affleck last name, completely aiding into this narrative that she's the one letting go of him, even though multiple media sources over the past few months have reported that Jennifer's the one desperately holding on. At the end of the day, JLo's going to make sure JLo still looks good, and she's going to look out for herself. And now the media is reporting that Jennifer wants to drop the Affleck name. TMZ obtained the divorce documents Jennifer filed on Tuesday, and she checked off the box to have her name restored to Jennifer Lynn Lopez. Jennifer took Ben's last name as her own when they tied the knot back in 2022, but now that she's officially filed to pull the plug on the marriage, it seems she's over being an Affleck. Jennifer filed her divorce documents as Jennifer Lynn Affleck, her legal name, but now she's requested to change it back to Jennifer Lynn Lopez. Well, there you have it. This is the full update on Bennifer's divorce and how it went down in the media. Do you think it's over for Bennifer officially, or is the fact that they're still trying to find a settlement agreement tells us that there's going to be more updates to come out? Either way, we will be here to report on it. If you want, go check out our Scandalous Media TikTok for quick and fast daily updates on all things celebrity. Make sure to check out our merch if you want to support us. Thanks for watching, give me your thoughts, and I'll see you next time.